For your aiming process, would you say that you are subjective in nature? Or would you say that your aiming method falls into the objective category? As you're thinking about that, I think it would be only right that I should comment that there are various degrees of subjective aiming, and there are various degrees of objectivity that are involved in aiming. And what I want to look at during this video are just two really strong indicators that you can have for consideration in determining which category you plug into. You know, it's very possible that you think you're in the subjective category, but really you're somewhere in the objective group. So what's the one indicator, the single most indicator from my perspective that would put you into the subjective category to where aiming is primarily considered as a guesswork kind of task? Let's look at three very popular aiming methods that can be taught in a matter of a 90-minute session. Contact points, ghost balls, fractional system, the quarter system. If you're looking at those aiming systems, yes, aiming is easy. Aiming is easy. It can be taught quickly and you can be on your merry way. Guessing. And yeah, you'll get efficient and you'll get better over time with it. But those systems are easy to learn. They make aiming easy because you're guessing. What's the common thread that runs through those three systems that can serve as an indicator that you're guessing at each and every shot to some degree? You know, like I said, there's various levels of subjectivity. That one indicator, the single most indicator, would be that the player, when in full stance, has his cue at his vision center and he's sighting 100% directly down his cue. That's what the textbooks say. Primarily, by and large, that's what traditional instruction says. Basically, it says we should target shoot. We should be a target shooter. Get everything just right, sight down your cue, and knock it in the pocket. And then do it again and just keep building upon your experiences and getting better. Well, I'm just going to set up in one shot that way, and they just explain to you a little bit what I'm doing. I've got a cut shot here to the left, so I'm just going to take the cue to my vision center. Bringing the cue straight down is a nice way to do this. Now, I'm going to sight 100% down my cue. I'm going to go past the actual contact point so that the two spheres can meet in such a way as to hopefully cleanly pocket that ball, and then I have to take into account the friction that occurs between the two balls. So there you have a real strong indicator that you're in the guesswork mode. Have you ever read that in the book? To do anything other than sight down the cue? Has a professional player ever told you to do anything other than sight directly down the cue? And the same professional player that would tell you to do that, I'm betting money that they're not sighting directly down the cue. I'm betting that there is a slight angling of their cue across their vision center. Let's look at the other category just for a second. When you're engaged in objective aiming, you're using a couple of spheres, the cue ball and the object ball. And what are the objective aspects of a cue ball and an object ball? Well, you have two edges that are always fixed, and they're there when you look at a fixed cue ball. You have the center of the cue ball. When you're looking at an object ball, you have its center, you have the two edges, and you have the two quarters. So when you're when you're engaged in objective aiming, you're using, to some degree, the objective aspects of the cue ball, object ball. And as I said, there's various levels of subjectivity, various levels of objectivity. I think everyone's goal in aiming should be to know as much as you possibly can about aiming. I know, I'll quote Nick Varner from a Billiards Digest from several years ago. He said aiming should be a lifelong pursuit for every player because we all miss and we all want to get better at aiming. So here's one of the great players in the world saying that aiming should be a lifelong pursuit. So when we look at the contrast of aiming directly down the cue, which would be to have a slight angling of the cue, there's a couple of ways that you can engage in this type of aiming, the angling of your cue. If you start off learning to aim from a textbook fashion, over time what is going to happen is that your visual, physical intelligence is going to take over because, trust me, I don't even like that phrase, trust me. Your visual, physical intelligence is going to take over. Why? Because this intelligence that's playing this game at the table does not like to aim at nothing. Contact points can't be seen. Ghost balls are invisible. You can't read angles on the table for the fractional system. So your eyes are not just a window to the world here. Your visual intelligence represents an intelligence that's stronger than the fastest supercomputers in the world. So given enough time, they're going to quit this idea of guessing as much as they possibly could. So your eyes and your body are trying to connect with these right angles on the table. So I'll reference you to a phone conversation that I had many years ago with Hal Hool. One of the things that he told me, and Landon was only about 8 at the time, he said, don't ever let your son play anybody that brings their cue in from the side. Well, when you bring your cue in from the side, when a player brings his cue in from the side, not straight down as if you're in a textbook mode, when you bring your cue in from the side, that is an indicator that one is angling the cue and that they're starting to engage in the objective side of things to a degree, maybe to a large degree. But this is a natural evolution of what occurs. So here's an example of bringing the cue in from the side. And you don't have to know what you're doing from a language point of view to do this. This is just what happens through time and experience on the table. So when I drop into this shot, the cue's going to come in from the side. It's angled across my face, and the reason that I know this is because I'm educated about it. I understand it. So I'm angling my cue. What's happening there when I'm angling my cue? Number one and foremost, probably, for the person that's not in the know, is that it's friendly to the contact point. To the even though you can't see the contact point, it's friendlier to that contact area on the object ball that's actually going to pocket the ball. You know, when we get a straight in shot, we like that shot because we get to line up from center and aim directly at that contact point that we think we can see. Well, that's what's occurring when you start angling your cue, is that you have a perception because of the slight angling of the cue that your tip is actually pointed at the contact point and not past it. So it just boils down to something that's true. We'd rather aim at something thick versus something thin. A thicker shot is friendlier to aim at than a thinner shot. And that's what occurs when you start angling your cue. Well, I know what you're thinking. How can I learn to angle my cue? The beauty of real center-to-edge aiming is that it offers a step-by-step process that allows you to learn the perceptions of the table, and there's only just a handful. There's only 2 major CTE perceptions that connect with every right angle on this table, and there's 8 of them. And then you've got just a couple of little rotations, very slight rotations that allow you to angle your cue as far as taking that perception, mixing it with the angling of your cue to connect with the pocket. So, for the first time, there is enough language available. The language, the words are not perfect, but fortunately there's enough that I can convey to you what to look at, how to angle your cue, so that you can connect with the pockets on this table. So you can learn it. You don't have to shoot a ton of balls, whether it's 250,000 or whether it's 1,000,000, to start angling your cue. You can start now, whether you're a C player, B player, it doesn't matter. If you're a professional player and you're already angling your cue, now you can take the knowledge of how to precisely dial in and connect with these right angles on a regulation table. I'm just trying to educate you. I'm trying to pass along to you 10 years of my work and my study. Now, so how can we learn to systematically angle our cue? I'm just going to give you a glimpse, a view into what occurs for a couple of shots within the framework of real center-to-edge aiming. This shot right here connects with this right angle with a 15-degree perception. That has nothing to do with a 15-degree angle. It has only to do with a 15-degree perception. So I'm going to explain this to you or demonstrate this to you using a 2-step process. I'm going to aim straight down my cue. So it's very important that I know where my vision center is. That's an advantage. The more you know about where your vision center precisely is, then you're a leg up. That's a good thing. Now, so I am going to aim down my cue. I want to aim down my cue. So I'm going to set up with a 15-degree perception, aiming directly down my cue, but I'm a half tip outside of center. 1/2 tip outside of center, looking at a 15-degree perception. Now, if I'm looking 100% down my cue now, when I angle my cue to center, I'm no longer looking 100% down the cue. So you can systematically learn how to angle your cue. I'll do one from the other side, and I'm going to keep this simple. I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm teaching the entire system here. I'm teaching you a concept. I'm giving you some information to help you better plug in with your understandings of where you actually are in the aiming process. So if I were going to do the same thing from the opposite side, cutting this ball to the left, this is a 15, I'm coming in from the outside. So I'm going to come in very strict on this one. This is a 15. I'm going to come straight in on this fixed cue ball, and I'm so used to using full circle CTE now that I allow myself to move a little bit. So if you see me moving, I'm just perfecting the perception once I get down. So in pure basic center to edge aiming, your first learning step is to go very strictly straight in like so, a 1/2 tip to the outside. Now, I'm sighting 100% down my cue, 100%. Now when I turn to center, there's my angled cue. So there's only a few perceptions that you learn in center to edge aiming. They're objective perceptions, using the objective aspects of the cue ball and the object ball. And the only way you can connect with the right angles of a regulation table is through those perceptions with a rotation. There's no other way to connect. Now, are there various degrees of objectivity? There certainly are. But from my perspective, from my understanding, CTE represents the very most highest level of objectivity that can be used to establish an objective aim when one is in full stance. So I just wanted to share this information with you and give you some food for thought. And I appreciate your time very much. Thank you.